And it's time now for our political insiders. Tony May joins us right here in the studio on the Democratic side and by Skype tonight.
That's right.
We have Charlie Gerow, the Republican consultant, and he is all the way around the world in Taiwan. Charlie, hello.
Good morning. I am glad to be here. Tony, I know is a frequent visitor to Taiwan, but this is my first visit. It's been a great one so far.
All right, good to have you. Thanks for spending some time with us, Charlie. Let's go ahead and begin with what's going on in Arizona. In the wake of the shootings in Arizona, there's been some questions on whether public officials need more protection and security. Specifically, let's talk about public officials here in Pennsylvania. Is it necessary? Tony, we'll start with you.
Well, as long as our legislators and state employees are within the Capitol complex, they're already pretty secure. They tightened up security tremendously after 9/11, and there are, checkpoints getting into the buildings. I think things are pretty reasonably safe there. It's really a matter, I think, of attention on the part of legislators and their staffs to pay more attention to the crank calls that they get. I mean, everybody who's in public life gets somebody complaining about what their decisions were, what they've said, and we have to become more sensitized to who might carry out a threat or who's just venting.
But Charlie, all of this would cost money, even if you just want somebody from law enforcement to follow up on these calls and letters that come in, or be with the congressmen and women as they go out in public.
Well, it would, and I agree with Tony. The crank calls and suggestions of violence or that kind of thing need to be followed up on. But the tough fine line here, Rob, is that both members of Congress and members of the Pennsylvania General Assembly are charged constitutionally with representing constituents. Try to keep them away from constituents or buffer them from constituents. It's a very, very difficult thing to do in our constitutional republic. There has to be the access of citizens, law-abiding 99.99% of them, to public officials. This is a tough call.
It must be a tough call, and you think about all the hot button issues that a lot of these politicians put on the table. There's going to be someone who doesn't like it. But when it comes to the threats, when it comes to the prank calls that you were saying, we talked to police, local police, about this a little bit yesterday. At what point can you go further with it? At what point do you know it's serious enough where something needs to be done?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. The one other common sense rule that probably drives some Second Amendment supporters crazy is just the simple idea that you shouldn't bring weapons to public gatherings, to assemblies of various kinds, any more than you really need to bring a gun to a restaurant, or worse yet, to a bar. I mean, you just need to set some basic rules. We all remember that from cowboy movies in the old days. You left your gun at the door of the saloon. If they figured it out in the movies, we can certainly figure it out, I think, in public.
But that's relying on the people doing the threats to leave their guns.
Charlie, do you think this will lead to less of these informal outdoor gatherings that Congresswoman Gifford was holding?
I sure hope not, and I don't think ultimately that it will. I think that the members of Congress are pretty well committed to, and I know the state representatives, senators in our Commonwealth are committed to being with their constituents, listening to them, participating with them in open public forums. I think that will continue.
And that's what so many of them, they have said that they just don't want to cut back on being able to shake hands and be with the people. One of the most important things in politics, isn't it?
Shaking hands and kissing babies. Although kissing babies could also spread germs.
Right, so we don't even want to go there. Yeah, that'll be a whole nother topic for our political insiders. All right, Charlie Gerow joining us live tonight from Taiwan. Thanks for joining us, Charlie. We hope you enjoy your trip there.
And Tony, thank you for being here.